Greetings from Bali, the tropical Indonesian island which is the destination for many travelers, digital nomads and people who want to spend the winter in the eternal summer of Indonesia. And it has a lot to offer. It has the cuisine from all over the world, all the imaginable conveniences and entertainment for all tastes. But today we are not interested in any of that. We are interested in the cars, motorcycles, traffic and anything that's interesting on the streets. But first, let's see how people move around this island generally. Well, mostly on scooters, and that is natural choice when you have warm weather all year round, really narrow streets where two mopeds, a car and a moped, not to mention two trucks can barely pass each other. And the streets don't have sidewalks either, where pedestrians can be safe from the traffic, with some exceptions of course in the larger cities, in Denpasar or Canggu. As I'm speaking, I have to avoid some vehicles.
And sometimes the navigation will take you through a rice field trail that is wide enough for the scooter only. A good sense of balance here is helpful too, not to end up in the mud.
Another thing is that they have few gas stations that usually have very long queues. So these small shops or warungs, which are essentially restaurants at the side of the road, sell gasoline as well. So the gasoline comes in two flavors. It's either green or blue. The green doesn't mean it's more eco-friendly, it's just the lesser, cheaper gasoline. And the blue one is the good stuff. And they are usually sold either in 1 liter bottles, so you can count how much are you filling, or pumps like this. So why are the roads so narrow?
Well, Bali has been an agricultural land for all its existence until very recently, when in the 80s tourism boomed and now constitutes about 80% of the economy. So the roads were designed to connect fields to farms and save as much agricultural land as possible with no heavy traffic in mind. And as population grew, sacred temples and houses were built alongside the roads that now are making widening them much more difficult. There is, however, a highway connecting Ngurah Rai Airport to Gilimanuk Harbour and some wider roads surrounding the island, but that doesn't really represent the overall situation. To make things even more risky, the traffic regulations here are very loose. Lanes don't mean much. Overtaking while someone is approaching from the opposite side is not an emergency situation, it's a common maneuver. So you better pay attention at all times and be ready to avoid other vehicles, even when driving straight within your lane. Turn signals? Nah, forget those. Jumping the red lights is a normal practice, and during the dark hours vehicles might emerge from the dark with no lights at all, or the opposite, blind you with some unregulated, uncertified LEDs. Despite all that, in 4 months since I arrived here, I haven't witnessed a single traffic accident, except this one, and I think that is remarkable. The local drivers have developed the skill to avoid the other vehicles with few centimeter precision and just have lots of courage. And I've been told that driving in the morning is even more dangerous because the religious rituals are still in fresh memory and give the drivers a sense of extra protection. Now about the vehicles, I should mention that there is no railway here and majority of the traffic consists of scooters and mopeds. Because it is a small island, the make and model variety isn't that wide, with some exceptions. But because these scooters and mopeds are adopted for most life situations, the way of using them is so diverse. Families of 3, 4, maybe even with a dog riding a single scooter is a common scene. Portable kitchens serving nasi goreng or other street food mounted on a scooter. Carpentry workshop with ladder on the back. Garbage collecting scooters, gas cylinder delivery scooters, cement mixer tricycles, and the list goes on and on. It seems that Balinese people can balance anything on a scooter. It's difficult even to list how many penalties would someone get in Europe or the US riding an unlicensed, unregistered scooter with no lights, no helmet, balancing a carpentry workshop on the back and maybe being caught jumping a red light. And being the most common transport here, the scooter is much more than just a vehicle. It has become a part of the culture. So here I was stuck behind what seemed to be an endless column of scooters. I took this longer mountain road to avoid one of the hectic highways, but ended up in one of the most spectacular and at the same time frustrating traffic jams I've ever experienced. It was frustrating because it seemed endless no matter how many of these riders I overtook, and it was a long stretch of a mountain road that had no bypass options. Later I discovered that this ride was a part of a funeral ceremony. As the participants were gathering from all the neighboring villages, the deceased must have been very wealthy and influential in the region.
And the locals are quite proud of their scooters, so they love modifying them. They love repainting, adding all sorts of decals. And I have come to one such place. The owner, Atio Devata, is offering to repair the seats, add the decals and repaint the whole scooter. And his own scooter is the real example of the best Indonesian scooter tuning essentials. And they also love making the exhausts loud so that everyone sees who's coming, which can be a little bit annoying if you are living by one of the major streets, but it's the local culture. Although honestly, I really hope that they will go for electric scooters in the nearest future.
And right next to this sticker shop there is a workshop that specializes on swapping the original mufflers to the louder ones. They have a wide variety of mufflers available, and there is no shortage of clients who wish to make their scooters sound sportier. The methods used to work with an angle grinder or a torch might not be in accordance with the health and safety measures, but the guys get the job done and don't seem to be hurting themselves. And further down the road there is another spare parts shop that not only offers exhaust systems, but also aftermarket wheels, body kits, lights, suspension parts and every other part imaginable. Here you are sure to find the best racing wheel for your two-wheel beast, and you can get it fitted right here at the shop. More practical and tastier scooter modification is turning it into a street food kitchen. It can be parked anywhere, it has a gas cylinder for a portable stove and everything necessary to cook the most popular Balinese dishes like bakso ayam, mie goreng or nasi goreng. And the ability of the street cooks to balance all that while riding is admirable. The four-wheeled vehicle scene is also unique. The cars and pickup trucks get mods that would score high in the early Need for Speed Underground games, and the most popular pickup truck must be the Suzuki Carry, which is used for widest variety of cargo. I used it myself once to move my mattress, and it turned out to have a very small bed that requires some creativity to fit larger objects. The trucks of all sizes oftentimes have a unique paint job and during the dark hours show off colorful illumination. Speaking of the passenger cars, many old and otherwise rare car models can be spotted on the road. These Mark III and IV Corollas are quite popular, with some Lamborghinis occasionally squeezing through the traffic. But the most popular car in all of Indonesia, including Bali, for the last 16 years must be the Toyota Avanza. The same car can be branded under the Daihatsu Xenia badge as it is produced locally in Astra Daihatsu factory in the capital of Indonesia. At the height of its popularity in 2013, the Avanza made up 22% of all cars in Indonesia. And that's understandable when car import tax can reach several times the car value. So this rather boring looking family wagon has one feature that might make it fun, cheap import to the northern hemisphere. It is rear-wheel drive. Imagine this unassuming minivan snowdrifting in a parking lot. Another Daihatsu produced vehicle that most stood out from the traffic was a lifted off-roader with mud tires and some crazy styling. I'm test driving and taking a closer look at it in another of my videos. I'll leave the link to it in the end screen. But for this video, that's all. Next one is coming from Singapore. Cheers!